Thank you so much, Dan, for joining us.
Oh,
Having you
it's
here
a pleasure.
is really
Thank you.
great. Now, you have a PhD in dance. You worked in intelligence in Germany for the U.S. government. You were in the antique restoration business. And now this. What inspired you to do this?
Well, everybody wants to be a builder. We put sheets over the dining table to make a tent and build with blocks, and a lot of people just get derailed, and I never did. I always wanted to build. And
That's
so,
interesting, even as a child, because
Absolutely.
you made your first bike. Now, how do you choose the people that you said it's low income, mainly single moms, but how do you choose them to provide, to teach them the skills to build their own home and to give them really tools to have a better life?
Well, they're everywhere. People who are poor aren't necessarily dumb. They have to have enough wherewithal to lift a hammer and read a tape measure and have a work ethic, and they have to have good credit or no credit, but not bad credit, and a stable job. That doesn't account for everybody that's poor, but certainly it makes inroads to 35 or 40% of them.
And once you help them build their own homes, you teach them skills that they could use elsewhere.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right.
Plus, they know how to fix their own house.
Right.
If something goes wrong, then they know what went wrong because they did it themselves to begin with.
I was going to ask you that about maintenance. What happens 10 years, 20 years down the line with a recycled home?
All
It's the same
homes
as
need
any other.
maintenance, and
Right.
they have to be fixed, and so they do that. That's part of the world of home ownership.
Now, we see that you're trying to do this in Houston as well, and the rest of the country. What sort of resources do you need? How do you maintain a process like this in the long term?
Well, part of it is through demonstration, showing that it can be done, and the second part is through advocacy. And if you build an advocacy group in any area or region, then it'll just spring up all by itself. Third world countries have been doing this for centuries. And so we have to make sure that the prevailing infrastructure in the area is going to allow that. In Houston, we're dealing with the City of Houston Inspection Department, Building Department, to find out what laws are in place that prevent recycling and building from recycled materials, and relook at those and see if we can't get a new direction.
Okay, so you'd have to do that all over the country to spread this idea and this concept.
Absolutely.
Now, you make the homes energy efficient. Tell me how you do that.
Lots of insulation, lots of insulation. And then we make sure that there's a lot of thermal mass inside the insulated envelope, because that acts like a heat sink, and it keeps the temperature even. And then Energy Star appliances, very energy efficient heating and air conditioning.
Give me examples of, you said insulation, give me examples of natural things you can do yourself for your own home.
Oh gosh, whenever your hot water heater craters, don't replace it with a tank hot water heater, replace it with a tankless hot water heater. We don't leave our cars running all night in case we need them, but with our water heaters, that's what we're doing.
Okay.
A tankless water heater doesn't keep any water hot. Just whenever you turn on the hot water, you have hot water.
And what's good insulation material, for example, natural?
Insulation material is widely available. That's very carefully controlled because there's a question of fire. But low VOC, or volatile organic compound, low VOC and low formaldehyde insulation is available. And then insulation is widely available, and recycled insulation as well.
If I'm a person who wants to build my own home, are there resources out there for me to learn how to build my own home?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
With recycled materials, I mean.
The first thing is you want to have the savvy for energy efficiency and responsibility for an environmental imperative. And there's a website known as Building Science Corporation, or buildingsciencecorporation.com. It's easy to read. It has Jack's or Joe's 10 worst mistakes in building in the South and 10 worst mistakes building in the North, and it's readable. Then a person needs carpentry skills, not tall carpentry skills, but some. You have to know that things have to be plumb and level.
Can you actually learn that stuff? I mean, is it difficult?
Sure.
Is it difficult to learn?
No,
or? Okay.
Not at all. In fact, most people already know it.
You know, in our nation, we are having some problems with affordable housing. How did we get into this bind, do you think?
Well, part of it, it goes way back to the Industrial Revolution when we started mechanizing everything and standardizing things to make it easier and quicker, get more product for the amount of energy invested. And that's provided layers, cultural layers that go one on top of the other. And so now we're demanding that we have certain kinds of things that aren't really necessary. They just grew out of this centuries-long cultural layering.
Give me an example of
drywall,
things.
For instance,
Drywall.
sheetrock.
Okay.
That's become the standard. It's a minimalist material, and we just assume that drywall goes into a house. Well, there are lots of other alternatives to wall and ceiling coverings. There are lots of alternatives to floor coverings.
Like, give me examples of alternatives.
Wood, old wood.
Okay.
Gosh, CDs, bottle caps, shards of glass and tile, anything. And if you recall that repetition creates pattern, it doesn't make any difference what these and those are if you can repeat them.
Right.
If you have 100 of these, 100 of those, if you can repeat it,
right,
then you have the possibility of a pattern.
So there is a downside to our Industrial Revolution that you see today.
Absolutely. It's provided the finest quality of life that we've had, that the planet has seen. The problem is that if things aren't standard, then they get thrown away. And everything is so available and easy and cheap. If our toaster breaks,
we throw it away.
50 years ago, we would have had it fixed. But now, it's much easier to throw it away, get another one, because they're cheap enough.
Right.
And that's happening in the building industry. And the problem with that is the planet can't support those resources anymore.
Why do you think we waste so much?
Well, we crave quick, convenient, easy, fast. And so it's just easier to throw something away than to fix it and reuse it. And really, it's just as easy to fix and reclaim and reuse as it is to buy new in the building industry, and that's what I'm trying to prove.
So waste really is impacting affordable housing negatively.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And what should we do about it?
Well, we can encourage and educate builders to be more responsible with materials. We can reclaim materials instead of destroying a ruined house, as in Hurricane Katrina, and take it to the landfill. Let's deconstruct it and reclaim some of the usable building materials. And then the materials are lower cost, and they're just as good, if maybe not better, than what you can buy these days. And so it's a responsible thing to do.
Do you think, I know one of the challenges you face is building codes. Are those necessary, and should they be changed doing what you're doing?
Absolutely. Building codes are a necessary thing, and they're the product of decades of input by engineers, architects, builders, contractors, tradesmen, to make the process of building and the products safe and hazard-free and healthy. But the building codes follow market-driven strategies, and so as cultural layering gets thicker and thicker and thicker, then we have building codes that follow that. And indeed, really, we can go back to the simple way of life and still be just as happy, have wonderful designs, and a very healthy house.
So we need to look into that.
Yes.
As a society. Now, you've traveled extensively, and you like to travel in the Third World, and you've told me that in the Third World they use materials that are close to wherever they are, and they build with what's close. Yeah. What can we learn from the Third World?
They teach us how we used to be. America was built on taking whatever was available and simply building a house. Honey, we need a house. Okay, well, go out there and get some materials. And we can do the same thing. But the stuff over there is a big trash heap, and we can go over to the trash heap and grab those and build a house. It's still possible. And it's being done all over the world in third world countries. But we've gotten so spoiled in our standardized strategies and our cultural layering that we forget that those materials are absolutely at our fingertips and absolutely free. All we have to do is lean over and pick them up.
So do you think that vanity plays a role in the mess we're in?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Humans are gregarious. They like to